World Geography. Russia, Caucasus, Central Asia. Geographic Foundations. Here are the learning objectives. 1. Identify Russia, the Caucasus region, and Central Asia on a political map. 2. Identify the location of the East European Plain and describe its importance to the local economy. 3. Compare and contrast the West Siberian Plain, the Central Siberian Plateau, and the Russian Far East. 4. Compare and contrast the Caucasus Mountains and TIAN. 5. Compare and contrast the Caspian Sea, Aral Sea, and Lake Baikal. 6. Describe regional climate subregions and vegetation zones. Political maps. You should take a minute and pause right here. Identify the country of Russia and look at some of the smaller countries that surround this vast country. Let's zoom in on the region south of the country of Russia. I'm going to look at the Caucasus region, which is to the left between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, and also focus on the countries of Central Asia, kind of dominated there by Kazakhstan. There's Russia, and you can see its location to its nearby countries. Here's the Caucasus region. It straddles an area between the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea. That's a cultural crossroads. And there's Central Asia, showing its location in relationship to nearby countries. Physical map. Here's a physical map of Russia and the surrounding countries. We'll be zooming in on several of these areas so you can see them more closely. Northern landforms. Overview. Russia, the Caucasus region, and Central Asia, they occupy a territory almost 3 times the land area of the continental United States. This region is so vast that it sprawls across both European and Asian continents, crosses 11 time zones. East European Plain. The East European Plain is an extension of the North European Plain. It stretches from the Eastern European nations of Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, on through Russia, all the way to the Ural Mountains. Geographers have always considered the Ural Mountains to be the dividing line between Europe and Asia. On this East European Plain, there's a fertile soil called black earth. It's known as Chernozem, and it leads to abundant harvests. 75% of the region's 290 million people live in this agricultural region. And the green area on the map is the location of the East European Plain. West Siberian Plain. The Ural Mountains separate the East European Plain and the West Siberian Plain. So as you travel east in Russia, you go from the East European plain and then across the Ural Mountains and then to the West Siberian plain. This plain tilts northward, and so its rivers flow toward the Arctic Ocean. Central Siberian Plateau. This area has harsh, cold environment, and it's sparsely populated. Natural resources, they're plentiful, but because of that harsh environment, they're difficult to extract. Russian Far East. A portion of the Ring of Fire is found in the Russian Far East. There's a complex system of volcanic ranges in that region. And if you look at this map, you want to be able to identify the location of the West Siberian Plain. And then you go up in altitude a little bit to the Central Siberian Plateau, and then up in altitude and a little bit further north to the Russian Far East. Southern landforms. Caucasus Mountains. The Caucasus Mountains stretch across the land that separates the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. They form a border between Russia and a region called Transcaucasia, which includes the countries of Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. This is a real cultural crossroads with lots of different ethnic groups, lots of different languages, a mixture of religions. This has been an area that people have passed back and forth in between Russia and Southwest Asia for thousands of years. TIAN. Along the southern border of Central Asia is a mountain range called TIAN. It's a wall of mountains, and the ranges are so high that they prevent moist air from entering the region from the south, and so this region is very arid or dry. TURAN Plain. The TURAN Plain lies between the Caspian Sea and the mountains and uplands of Central Asia. The Sir Darya and the Amu Darya rivers, they cross the plain. But the plain is mostly desert, and then it has some irrigated fields off to the sides of these rivers. On this map, you want to be able to identify the Caucasus Mountains, the TURAN Plain, and the Tian Shan Mountains. Rivers and lakes. Caspian Sea drainage basin. The Volga River. This is the longest river on the European continent, and it drains what's known as the Caspian Sea basin. Remember that a drainage basin is an area drained by a major river and its tributaries. Here's the Volga River drainage basin, or the Caspian Sea drainage basin. Caspian Sea. The Caspian Sea is a saltwater lake. It stretches 750 miles from north to south. It's the largest inland sea in the world. And around the edges and under its waters are large deposits of oil and natural gas. Aral Sea. The Aral Sea is east of the Caspian Sea, and it's also a saltwater lake. Due to irrigation projects which have diverted the water from the rivers that feed the lake, the Aral Sea has lost 87% of its water volume since 1960. Lake Baikal. Lake Baikal is in far eastern Russia. It's the deepest lake in the world. It's more than a mile from the surface to the bottom in some areas. And the lake, most significantly, holds 20% of the world's fresh water. On this map, you want to be able to identify the Caspian Sea, the Aral Sea, and Lake Baikal. Climate of extremes. Climate subregions. The warmer climates are found in the humid subtropical areas of Transcaucasia, and also warm climates in the semi-arid and desert areas of Central Asia. Much of Russia is either humid continental climate subregion or subarctic. The climates reflect the influence of the region's high latitude and also the location of high mountain ranges. Here are the climate subregions of the area, and you'll see that subarctic, the purple, is quite a large area, and so is the humid continental. Continentality. Much of inland Russia is hundreds of miles from the moderating warm waters of the Atlantic Ocean's North Atlantic Drift, the warm ocean current off the coast of England and France. The air not only loses its warmth, but it also loses moisture as it travels inland. So this term continentality, it's the effect of distance on climate. And so the interior of Russia is extremely cold and can be quite dry. Vegetation zones. Vegetation. Vegetation regions in Russia, Caucasus, and Central Asia run north to south in wide horizontal strips. In the far north is the tundra region. This area contains mosses, lichens, small herbs, and low shrubs. These kind of plants can survive the polar conditions. South of the tundra is the largest forest on Earth in the subarctic, the taiga. And then further south is the steppe, which is a temperate grassland with Chernozem. And then even further south you have desert and then more temperate grasslands in Central Asia. Here's a map of the vegetation regions of the area. The Wild East. Siberia. In the late 1800s, Siberia, a region in Russia, was similar to America's Wild West. Travel was dangerous and slow. To improve travel, encourage trade, and to extract the resources that can be found in the region, the Russian emperor ordered work to start on the Trans-Siberian Railroad. This railroad was going to link Moscow to the Pacific port of Vladivostok. The end. Thank you for your attention.